What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Ethereum. May look at some altcoins if we have time to get into it. But what I wanted to look at here today was Bitcoin on the monthly. We're going to look at it on the weekly and then the daily. Right now we're coming in at 38,167. We're up about 3.23%. What I like to see on the daily are those long lower wicks. Just like when we see them to the upside, you can see back in here on the monthly, whenever we get them to the upside, typically that'll mark a local top and you'll get pushed to the downside into a nice correction or retracement. And it's the same typically for putting in bottoms. You want to see those big long hammer candles with follow through. That's the type of stuff you're looking for. So right now, the longer before this monthly candle closes this wick can be, the better for us. And what we're trying to do is set a monthly higher low. So if we can get this monthly higher low, what we would look for next is for a push up to set at least a lower high on the monthly, then come back down here, see if we can set a higher low and kind of get into a squeezing pattern, probably is what I'm anticipating. But if we're able to pull this off, that could still be a nice little gain to back test maybe $52,000. And that's what I like to play, guys. As we've been talking about, buying the fear. Right now there's a lot going on. We have the Fed announcement coming up, so we also have to watch. Right now all this is just intraday price movement for Bitcoin, so we're going to have to see how we close today. So definitely something you want to pay attention to. This isn't the time, in my opinion, to blow the trumpet and say the bottom's in for sure, but we have some good signs on heavier volume, and that's what you're looking for. So I'm cautiously optimistic that the bottom is in for Bitcoin. And guys, on the monthly time frame, a lot of people don't look at it, but that's the major driver. So our monthly time frame is up, and that's important for us. So I would at least anticipate once we set this higher low potentially to at least go up and set some type of lower high, and then we'll have to see where we're at. But it's important to note that we're in an uptrend here on the monthly. And also, guys, if you get some from this, if you can help this channel out, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like this kind of stuff. Try to do the best I can for you, just looking at technical analysis, Glassnode. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't have a crystal ball for you. I can't tell you, what the market's going to do. I'm not a whale. I just try to follow the whales and ride the trends the best that I can. So next, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin here on the 1 week. So on the 1 week, what would be important for us? Guys, we wouldn't want to go down below, we're going to call it about $29,000, which many times in this space, you can get a big flush down and then you bounce back up hard. But do you see these long wicks like we were talking about? This helped put in the bottom for us. So whenever you're seeing these long wicks on the bottom, that's going to be a sign that we potentially could get moving to the upside. We had a bullish engulfing candle, got us moving to the upside. Take a look at the long wicks right on top here, or Christmas trees. So you want to look at that type of stuff and you want to look at the volume, and that can give you a sign. So it's nice to see that we're getting some longer wicks here. If we could close this candle maybe even a little bit higher there, it could turn into almost like a bullish piercing pattern, which would be important for us here. But we want to see us defend. Even right now, about $32,800 is going to be an important area. Overhead resistance of around 40,000 I would look at. But when we're looking at Bitcoin, guys, and we're taking a look at this retracement, if this is the bottom, if we pull down into this range, many times you get a bounce at least back to the 0.382, which would put you at about $46,500, and then it'd be up to that 0.5 right around that 50,000. So that's what I'd be anticipating. This isn't a prediction of saying it has to happen, but after a fall like this, you would at least anticipate a bounce back up into that range, that 0.5. So kind of think about it in the opposite direction. When we made this move up here, we had a retracement all the way back to the 0.618 before we got moving again. So it'd be the same concept, something that you would go up here, find rejection, and then you potentially could go lower, and that would mark the bear market for us. And then we could say, okay, it's official. But as long as we're still holding those monthly higher lows, that's going to be important for us to see if we can carry this on and see if we're just in almost like some massive channel potentially. I mean, guys, if you just do something like this. So, maybe we're just bouncing in this huge range just back and forth. Then we're going to go up and try to test some higher levels. I'm not sure right now. I'm just taking it day by day, but I do like to buy the fear. When I see daily oversold conditions down in the 20s, when you're looking at the 12-hour, the 4-hour, the 1 hour, everything oversold, that's when I like to jump in and try to play some type of reaction. But we do have a lot going on right now, and you have to be aware of that just around the world. Anything can happen in this space, and you have to manage your risk. Play those smaller positions. Use 10% of your capital down in ranges like this so you can potentially play a bounce. But it's not something that's going to hurt you if it does go lower. It'd be another great opportunity if we can continue to hold. these levels here. You know, this is when you want to be buying, when we're at extreme fear, if you truly believe in Bitcoin and Ethereum and where cryptocurrency is potentially heading. So that's just kind of how I'm thinking here. It looks like the traditional bull and bear market 4-year cycles are broken. Anything can happen now. Like, you just have to take price action by the day, in my opinion. So if we get into the 1 day right here, guys, pretty nice, almost really long hammer candle. So you can see this really long wick here. Have a little bit of more wick on the top than I'd like to see. Traditionally, you don't want to see much wick on the top, but it did come on heavy volume as well. So this potentially could mark our bottom. What we'd be looking for, once we do calm down, say we go up a little bit higher, we want to come down, set a higher low, and then try to push up out of here. Have this be our daily higher low and get moving. So let's see if we can defend about $33,000. I'd like us to hold 35,000. Overhead resistance, we got to look to around 40,000, because now we have to get back up over top of that. And that's the problem when you drop down through support areas. Now they become resistance, and we have to bang up against that potentially until we can set a higher low and maybe move higher. But I do like to see this heavier volume coming in. I hope this is our bottom, guys. I'd like to see us get moving here. This has been, you know, almost 80 days in a downtrend now. So when you have 80 days in a downtrend, many times you start to at least get that reversal. So like here we had 50 days reversal. You know, you push up, and then we had, and this was about 50, 60 days. Then we've had this mess over here. This over here was about 100 days, and we had our reaction out of it. So looking for something similar to that at least here, guys, you know. So like that, how we got that bounce up to the 0.618. If we got that bounce to the 0.618 this time, just a rough estimate, that put us back around $55,000. So this type of stuff that I like to look at, but nothing is a guarantee. So that's going to be Bitcoin, guys. If you get something from that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're going to run into ETH real fast here. I just don't want to take too much time, guys, but I do want to get detailed here for you. So if we get into the 1 month for Ethereum, so 1 month, we're trying to set that higher low. We want it higher than about 1,752. So it's going to be important if we can set this higher low, potentially go up and set a lower high at least, which could take us back to around $4,000. Have to challenge that big level, and then if we can push higher, we look up to around $4,700. It's going to be the areas. So we really want to see this monthly candle close higher than these previous one right here, this higher low. But you can see for Ethereum, guys, how hard it runs when it does get going here. And then we've had this sell-off, and it really, in comparison, hasn't been that huge a volume to the downside here. So that is something I'm watching. You can see on this upside, we had tons of heavy volume right here. And then this was a mixture of people FOMOing into it while the smart money was selling out. So we had really high sell volume as well. You can see that on Glassnode, came down, set a higher low, then we pushed up on lower volume, and that showed some weakness. So now we have to set this higher low, which is going to be important for Ethereum. But when you're just looking at this price action stepping back, we're still in this uptrend. We have to realize that on the monthly time frame before we really start panicking or anything like that, right? And it's never time to panic in these markets if you have a plan for both the upside and the downside. And I would also love to hear your guys' plans, what you've been doing, if you've been buying, if you've been selling. Did you end up panic selling, you know, potentially down in this area, or were you buying, you know, laddering in? I would love to hear it. So for Ethereum on the 1 week, we would love for this to turn into a hammer candle, which would be really good for us, and that would still have us up above this area. So it could be a higher low before we potentially try to move up higher. Main areas of support, we're looking about $2,000. And then I would look at, I would say about 2,500 we'd like to see hold as support. In terms of overhead resistance, I think 3,000 is going to be a big area that we have to retest and see if we can get up over top of that. If we do see some rejection, push up here, see if we can set a higher low before potentially going higher. Now if we do fall, we got to hold that 1,700, and we'll call it 50, which is going to be a big area for us. But still, guys, even on the 1 week time frame here, when you're just looking at this, that's still an uptrend and a daily downtrend. So if we take a look at the 1 day, you can see we're still in that downtrend. That has not been broken yet, so that's why we still have to be cautious in things, guys. Anything can happen at these levels with all the stuff going on in the world here. So we still had, we had our high, lower high, lower high, lower high, just working your way down, lower high, and then this all could still just be a lower high in this area. That's why if we do see rejection, we need to come down and set a higher low before we potentially can move higher. If you draw a trend line right on this here, that's what we need to break for a more conservative bull to jump into this space. So that's what I wanted to leave you with, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I love you all. Take care.